Okay, so we're going to do a run through of March Network's command client plugin 1.10. It's very similar to 1.8 and 1.9. They've just added a few functionalities, but we're going to do a quick run through. You'll enter in your IP address to your DVR, or if you're connecting to an ESM or CES, you'll enter that into your browser. You can use Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, or I'm using actually Firefox at the moment, but they will require you to run Microsoft Silverlight, so keep that in mind. If you do not have that installed, you will need to install that, and you will need to check with your IT department if that is something they will have to install for you. So enter in your username and password. You'll log in. So yours may look a little different when you first log in. I've actually changed mine around some, but down here at the bottom you'll see the different tabs: health, alarms, and export. This used to be what was referred to as the dashboard. You can hide it by clicking on the little pin over on the far right, basically to undock it, but I'll leave that up for now. Over on the left hand side you'll see under system, this will look different to different people. I'm directly connecting to my recorder, so what I'm seeing is my IP address and a little orange icon that represents the recorder. You may see maybe your company name or maybe the site number for your location. If you're under a managed service, that'll look a lot different. But to the left of it you'll see the little triangle. You can click it and it'll give you a drop down. Now here you should see any devices connected to this recorder. The blue icons represent cameras, and then you'll see different icons for if you have motion set up or if you have alarms set up. There's different things that will be viewable here. You can actually take these out by using a filter. So it says filter by resource type. Alright, click it, and really the only thing you need to see will be video channel and view. Now view is when we create a grid. Those will be visible under personal down here on the left hand side. So we're going to leave that checked because we want to see that. Click away to make that close. So the first thing we want to decide is if we want to make a grid with all the cameras or if we want to just view a couple of the cameras. For now, I'm going to select these cameras that I have labeled warehouse at the bottom. Now the quickest way to do this is to left click with your mouse to select it, and you'll see that it's highlighted. You can hold down the control key to select any of the cameras that you want, or you can hold down the shift key and select the last and highlight all of them. Basic Windows keyboard function. So once you have those highlighted, you're going to right click and you'll want to select open a new view in order to create a view, which is your grid. If you select open, what it will do is it will open these cameras up individually on different tabs, and if you have a lot of cameras and you do that, it can take some time to load those up and to close those out. So select open a new view, and it will create a grid to fit however many cameras that you've selected. Okay. Now once your camera's loaded up, if you do not see this bar across the bottom underneath the cameras, you'll want to click on Show Hide Timeline. It's a little icon right here where the mouse is. I believe by default on some systems it's not set to pop up automatically, so you'll have to click that to bring that up. But this represents 1 hour of video, and that's basically, think of it as like your buffer. If you wanted to jump back within the last hour, this is a quick way of doing it. You will see little spikes if there was any motion that was detected on that camera. So right now you'll see I have Warehouse 1 highlighted, and this is where it detected motion on it. Now if I select warehouse number 2, it's going to show me the motion that was populated on that particular camera. Warehouse 3, same thing, you got different motion spikes. Okay, so a quick way to go back on the video if you wanted to see what was happening. So let's see, I'm going to select right here and I'll just click right on that timeline. You'll see I put the cursor there, and I'm going to click play, and we should see some activity. Okay, so we see a person go across the screen, so that's letting me know that's motion that was on that camera. Now it only took this one camera back to that time because the cameras are currently not synced. So a quick way to do that, so say if you're looking at the one particular camera and you want to bring the others into that particular time, click on Synchronize Grid while you have the main camera highlighted. Synchronize Grid is a little icon right here. Now my other cameras are going to follow and go to that particular time. So if I click on Warehouse 1 again, we'll see it also has different motion. So let me select another section of the video, and then all the cameras will follow. At any time you can click the stop button to take them back to live view. Okay, so if you want to go to a particular time, you can click on Timeline Find, which is to the right of Synchronize Grid. It's going to bring up a calendar, and you can just click on a day and then enter a time. You will need to enter this as military format. Click the Find button, and then you'll see that your timeline bar has went back to that day and that time. So at this point you can click play, and it should start to play back your video from the time you selected. All right. So I've highlighted Warehouse 3. I want to look at the motion spikes on this camera, and I'm going to go to this point. Okay, so I paused the video because I wanted to show you a quick way of saving a snapshot. So you can see I've got two people on my screen here. I can right click on this camera, select Take Snapshot. I can rename this to whatever I want. I can select my destination. This is version 1.10, so it does actually allow me to select the folder on my C drive that I want to send this to. By default, I believe with everyone it'll send it to your Documents folder, to your Pictures folder, but you can change that. There's another way of changing it other than using this Browse option here, and I can show you that later. But you can send it directly to your desktop or to your computer, and it will be a JPEG image. You can also select removable media, which if you have a CD or a thumb drive connected to your computer, you can select that there. Or you can select a case file if you wanted to go further into this and add notes. So I'm going to do that first. So let's click Save, and you'll see it's going to pop up a case file. So here's my image. I can enter a note. If you're doing a particular investigation, you want to enter notes about what transpired, if there was a theft, any of that kind of information you can add right here in your note file. And then you can also add a note directly to the image. Okay, so once I'm done with this, I can click Export to File, which is up at the top right. Under Format, you'll see that it says CME. Now, CME is a format that is playable through Command Player, which is an external program. So if you do not have that, that's something you may want to look into, but you don't necessarily need it for this. So we can actually change this format option to PDF. Alright, so I'm going to click Export. I'm using multiple monitors, so I apologize. I'm actually opening this on another monitor. But here's what this will look like as a PDF file. And you'll see that the actual image itself also has the camera name and the time and date stamp, and then any notes that you wanted to enter will appear here. This makes it real easy to email to loss prevention or to upper management. Now that's the first way. Let me close this out. I'm going to go back and I'll show you the other way of doing this. Take snapshot, and I'll just say test here just to make it quick. And I'm going to send this directly to my computer. I'm not going to convert this to a PDF. Now this is just the JPEG image, viewable in Windows Photo Viewer or any Photoshop program you may use. And you'll see that it has the time and date stamp as well. Alright, so let's click stop and go back to live view. I'm going to do another search. And let's go back a little further. I'll go back to last week. Click play. And let's see, let's try this one. Now you can also, if you're not seeing exactly what you want when you do a search, you can also do a scroll on your timeline. So see, right now I'm at 12:10. If I wanted to go back further, I can just click the scroll and it'll take me back, and I can see the motion that was populated. I can also go the opposite direction, go forward or reverse. All right. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to save a video clip. Now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to click Set Selection, and you'll see that it's going to drop this blue section right over the top of my timeline bar. And you can actually change the beginning and ending of it just by dragging it with your mouse. So you can see I've selected a small section of video here. This is from Camera Warehouse 3. I'm going to click on Export Video. Now I have two options here. I can export as view, which will include all the cameras and save this as a grid view, or I can select Export as separate video channels and uncheck the other cameras that I do not need. So right now I'm just looking at Warehouse 3. I can just select the single camera. First, let's go ahead and do the export as view, and I'll just call this test 1. You'll see down at the bottom we have our start and end times. You can manually adjust these here if you want to pad the video, maybe add a minute to the beginning of it, or if you wanted to add a minute to the ending of it, you can do that here. I'm going to click next. Again, with destination, I can send this to my local computer or CD or thumb drive, or I can include this into a case file if I wanted to add notations to it. I'm going to go ahead and let it go to my C drive first. Click export. Now down at the bottom you'll notice that the export tab has started flashing. So when I click on it, I can see that it has already downloaded that clip. So let me open up that file and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so here's what the command player looks like when you use it for playback. And you'll see that it's just simply has the 3 cameras that were in my grid view. I have my basic playback functions here at the bottom. And it's all self-contained in a small file. Okay, so once that has finished downloading and you're done looking at it, you can actually just click Close Video Export to remove that from your queue. I want to go back and do this again though and show you the other option. So I'm going to click Export Video again. Now this time I'm going to select Export as Separate Video Channels. I'm going to uncheck the cameras that I'm not using. I'm going to click Next. I'm going to send this directly to my computer. This way it will be, I can actually change it to be an MP4 file. Instead of using the command player to play it back, I'll be able to use Windows Media Player or VLC Media Player to play that back. So I'm going to click Export, and you'll see that it started a process down here. Now the downside to this is an MP4 file is not compressed, so it usually takes a little bit longer. Now this was a small clip, so it wasn't very long, but if you're doing multiple cameras and you want to save those as MP4s, be prepared to wait a little while. And this is what it looks like playing back through Windows Media Player. Okay, once again, and close that out. I'm going to hide my dashboard. Click the stop button, take them back to live view. Show you a few little functions here. If you wanted to rearrange your grid, you can actually just put the mouse over the name of the camera, left click, hold it, and you can drag that camera view into a different cell. So this cell was empty, so it was easy to drag something into it. But another thing that it will do, if you try to drag it into a cell that another camera is in, it will simply swap places with those cameras. Now based on how many cameras you have, you can change the layout. You can go up to the top right and see where it says click grid size. You can change it to basically any of these grids, just whatever fits your needs based on how many cameras you have. So say I want to save this as the 3 camera view that you see here. Leave it there, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save As. I'm just going to say Try View just for something different. Now down under Personal, if I click on the left little arrow there, Now I can see TriView is actually saved there. So if I log in and I wanted to see that grid, I can simply click and drag that into the workspace and drop it, or I can right click and say open. Now at any time you can drag more cameras into your grid just by changing the layout. So say I take this back to, let's just do the 2x2 again, and maybe I want to bring in one of these cameras. I'll just drag one in. That's a parking lot camera, so it's not seeing very much, and I decide I want to try a different camera. I can just keep bringing them in until I get the one that I want. So there's an external camera. It's not the best view, but it'll work for this. So say I bring this in, but I want to continue this grid. I want to save it with this added camera. I can just click Save View and it will update that. So now when I open it up, that camera's there. But wait a minute, I've got 4 cameras on there, and I called it TriView. So what do I do now? I want to change the name. Simple. Just right click, rename. Name it whatever you want. Hit enter, and it's renamed. So if you want to change the directory for which you save your snapshots or video, look on your desktop, and in your taskbar you should see this little green and white icon for Command Client Plugin. Right click it, select Status, and you'll see a Settings tab. And from here you can actually choose the path that you want to send it to for your video or for your snapshots.